Third gear. Yeah, and I need to slow down. Yeah, this thing is pretty quick. All right, so this is my new car. It is keyless entry and all that stuff. It's got the push button start. It is a 6-speed manual. Got electric parking brake, which, you know, kind of is what it is. I guess all cars are like that now. Again, this is a GLI. It's pretty much fully loaded. It's got a 2-liter turbo. Basically the same as a GTI. Depending on the year you're comparing, there may be some subtle differences, but for the most part, most years, it's literally the same engine. So yeah. You can change the way the gauges look. That whole thing's just a screen. You can change what's showing in the middle if you want the map there or not. Or you can have the map here instead, obviously, if you wanted. Yeah, the audio system in it is Beats. But honestly, it's not like, it didn't blow me away or anything. It's okay. It's got heated and cooled seats, which is nice. It has a really big sunroof, if I can get that all in the shot. Yeah, it's got a really big sunroof. It doesn't tilt up very far though, but obviously it does open up. The whole top of the roof is black, and the sunroof goes all the way to the edges of the roof, which is basically one giant piece of glass for the whole roof, which is, geez God, I hope that never breaks. Haven't driven it at night yet. At night, there's like a lot of, I don't know, accent glowing stuff, and obviously you can change the color that lights up. Like I said, you can change a lot with the gauges, but I haven't quite figured all that out. There's all the assistance. It has adaptive cruise control. It has lane keep. The steering wheel will vibrate if you're going out of your lane. You can actually make the map full, which is cool. You can change the way the gauges look and stuff. I just kind of prefer the classic round gauges. It does have wireless charging here. If you set your phone here, it's charging. It's also wireless Apple Auto and Android, whatever the hell it's called. That's all wireless. You got 2 USB Type-C ports there, but don't really need to use them. I can just set my phone there and it's charging, and all the audio and map stuff is all wireless, so that's kind of cool. This does have some things I didn't expect it to have. It's got electronic suspension. Like you can control the, I guess, the valving or whatever in the shocks. So when you change ride mode, like there's comfort, normal, sport, and it changes like the steering feel like you would expect. It changes how the engine sounds like you would expect, probably the throttle response like you would expect. I didn't expect it to change the shocks, and it does. So when you're in comfort mode, the ride is actually a little smoother. But you know, I just got the car so far. I mostly just keep it in sport mode. So you gotta put your foot on the brake to turn off the electronic e-brake. Again, that's a little weird. Wasn't used to the 6-speed at first, coming from a 5-speed. You wouldn't think it would make that much of a difference, but just having reverse on the opposite side is weird. Took a little bit of getting used to. So yeah, Volkswagen rates these at, I think, 225 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. I don't know why these people are standing in the middle of the... Let the engine warm up before I get on it too much, but yeah, they rated at 225 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque. But like most Volkswagens with the turbocharged engine, maybe especially the 2.0T, supposedly it is underrated. Just like the GTI, they're rated at 225 horsepower, but Most of the time when they're dynoed, they're doing that at the wheels. 225 horsepower at the front wheels, which realistically that's probably like more like 250 horsepower. So I just say it's about 240. That kind of gets the idea across. The 260 foot-pounds of torque is more of the probably impressive spec there. And I'm already speeding. Fuck. Look, this car's not fast by sports car standards, by GT car standards. But by kind of everyday economy cars or just average family cars, it is pretty quick. It can definitely get up there, especially once you're in like second and third gear. Second gear in this will get you over 100 kilometers per hour. This is second gear. Second gear will do up to 120 kilometers an hour. And when you're in a manual and you're in the mood, you kind of want to wind the gears out. And if you wind out second gear in this, you're already going 100, you know, in a 50 or a 60. You know, it's enough to get you in trouble. And I really don't want any more power than this for what that's worth. Coming from obviously a Honda Civic with a 1.8 liter single overhead cam that maybe had 145 horsepower and maybe like 130, I'm guessing, less torque than it had horsepower. 130 foot-pounds of torque maybe. Going to 240 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. This is a lot faster than the car that I came from. And even that, most of the time in the city, I was like, this is fast enough, honestly. It's got a limited slip differential. It is electronically controlled. It's like an e-diff. It can do torque vectoring with the brakes. It can send up to 100% of the power to either front wheel. And that does change when you're in sport mode, how that acts. So yeah, this thing handles pretty good, especially again when you're in sport mode. It does tighten up the suspension, and it does change the way that e-diff works. These cars, for the price, for everything that you get, is pretty incredible. But if you look at it from a performance car, like a sporty car, like this gets compared to the Civic Si a lot. And this is faster than a Civic Si. It's got a lot more torque. The Civic Si is a 1.5 liter turbo. This is a 2 liter turbo. Again, it has a lot more. It's got like Civic Si is 200 horsepower. Probably a bit lighter though. But yeah, I think it's about 200 foot-pounds of torque. So this got like 60 more foot-pounds of torque on it. Even short shifting there, I shifted at 4,000 RPM. It's still speeding. So yeah, I gotta be careful for sure. But yeah, so two common complaints in this car is with the automatic, which is this, I think it's a 7-speed, the DSG dual clutch. Great automatic, it shifts pretty quickly, but has a tendency to upshift a lot. Apparently, even if you're in sport mode. Now that's obviously not an issue with the 6-speed manual here. The other complaint, you can't turn off traction control completely. Even when you turn it off, it'll let the wheels slip a little bit more, but it's still technically on. that's fine for me. I've got traction control on right now. Realistically, I'm probably never going to turn it off under normal daily driving. I don't need to be spinning the tires. Like, shit. I'm in my 40s here. So that to me, not a huge deal. Again, this is more like an entry level, I don't know, I don't want to call it a luxury car, but maybe entry level luxury car. Yeah, a little more grown up than your Honda Civic Si. Let's just say that. But yeah, the Honda Civic Si, a lot of people say it's funner to drive because you can fully turn off traction control. It only comes in a 6-speed manual. That road is closed. Guess I'm not going down there. Again, short shifting, it's fun. It's got enough torque. You don't have to rev it up. Again, I was shifting at like 4,000 RPM there. Yeah, it's not a Honda VTEC. You don't have to wind it out to have fun. Don't get me wrong, I would love like a K24 Honda Civic Si, but they stopped making those in what, 2015, 2016 maybe? So now you have to go to the 1.5 liter turbo, and I didn't really want the 1.5 liter turbo. I like the 2 liter turbo in this. There's a lot more torque. This is a heavier car, but it is faster. This is faster in a straight line than a Honda Civic Si. Make sure we're still recording this whole time. And then it actually, yeah, this e-brake, electronic handbrake thing is a little weird. But again, that's all cars today. Yeah, we're still recording? Yes, good. So yeah, it's pretty powerful for what it is. For a 4-cylinder, you know, these 2-liter turbos, they have a lot of torque. And with the 6-speed manual, it's pretty fun. The seats are pretty comfortable. Yeah, dual climate. It's pretty, again, it's pretty high, pretty well loaded for the price when you get up to a GLI. It's cheaper than a GTI, and you're basically getting all the same bells and whistles, the same engine, the same transmission, the same limited slip differential. I don't believe there's much difference between this and a GTI, at least depending on the year. I think if you're comparing the 2023 or 2024, there's a little more of a difference. But again, this is a 2022. I don't think there's any difference, really, between this and a GTI. Other than the GTI is a hatchback, and this is the sedan. This is basically the sedan version of a GTI, if you weren't aware. And I actually kind of prefer the way this looks over the GTI. It's a nice looking mature car that's kind of like faster than most people would expect. I mean, just looking at it. Yeah, a couple complaints. So on the steering wheel, there's too many buttons, to be honest, and they're touch sensitive. They're these weird touch sensitive things that they have like a haptic feedback, but like you can't really feel where volume is without looking. Like, I'm sure you'll get used to it, but it does feel weird. And you know, I do have a volume knob, and a lot of stuff changing your driving mode is a dedicated button. A lot of the climate, I still haven't figured all this out, to be honest. But most of this is just dedicated buttons, and I've just got it set to like 21 degrees Celsius, and I kind of just leave it there. Again, the stereo system is like okay, but it's not amazing. I mean, honestly, yeah, it sounds a lot better than my old car, but by modern standards, for having like the top tier Beats audio, it's not going to blow you away. I believe the Honda Civic Si has Bose, and supposedly that sounds better from reviews, from what I've heard in reviews. But there's really nothing I really hate about this car. Kind of my biggest pet peeve is the steering wheel controls. But yeah, anyways, that's it.